The simplest quantum mechanical problem to solve is that of a particle trapped inside a one-dimensional potential box. I hope you remember that while taking the introduction class to quantum mechanics, I had taught you that a bound particle in quantum mechanics can have only discrete energy values, and also the particle can never have zero energy. That is, even if the particle is at rest, it is vibrating, that is, it has vibrational energy. So those 2 points, that is the first point, energy values are quantized, and the second point, energy can never be zero. Those 2 points we will get as a result at the end of this problem. Consider a particle of mass m bouncing back and forth along the x direction inside a box of width L and having infinite potential volts. Here the box that we are talking about is not a normal three-dimensional box with finite walls. Instead, is a one-dimensional box having infinite potential walls. That is, the potential V is equal to infinity on both sides. In such a box, a particle is bouncing back and forth along the x direction. So this is a one-dimensional case that we are dealing with. Again, the mass of the particle is taken as small m and the width of the box is taken as capital L. You must have understood that we are not dealing with a real situation, but many real cases can be approximated to this problem. The second point is, it is assumed that the potential inside the box is zero and everywhere outside the box the potential is infinity. So here we are giving two assumptions. The first assumption says that inside the box everywhere the potential is zero and outside the box everywhere the potential is infinity. By giving these assumptions, we have structured the problem in such a way that the particle can never come out of the box. For the particle, the box is unsurmountable. Now the third point is to write the Schrodinger wave equation for the particle. Here, we choose the time-independent Schrodinger wave equation since the potential energy of the particle is zero everywhere inside the box. Hope you remember the time-independent Schrodinger wave equation. Dou square psi 0 by dou x square plus 2m by h cut square into e minus v into psi 0 is equal to 0, where psi 0 is a function which depends on position coordinates only. Here, since we are dealing with one-dimensional case, that is the particle is moving only in the x direction, instead of dou square psi 0 by dou x square, we write d square psi 0 by dx square plus 2m by h cut square into e minus v into psi 0 is equal to 0. In the next equation, we put psi 0 simply as psi because we know that it is a function of position coordinates only, and also the potential energy V of the particle as 0. So, the time-independent Schrodinger wave equation for the particle trapped inside the box is given by d square psi by dx square plus 2me by h cut square into psi is equal to 0. Now, we are going to solve this Schrodinger wave equation for the particle. This is a standard differential equation in mathematics. On solving this equation at the end, we will get an expression for energy E of the particle and also an expression for the wave function psi associated with the particle. On putting k square instead of 2me by h cut square, the equation becomes d square psi by dx square plus k square psi is equal to 0. Put this as equation number 1. And 2me by h cut square is equal to k square as equation number 2, where k is a constant. The general solution to equation 1 can be written as psi is equal to a into e raised to ikx plus b into e raised to minus ikx. Put it as equation number 3. Here a and b are constants. So altogether we have to find three unknown constants, small k, capital A and capital B. Now, in order to find the three unknown constants, we apply two boundary conditions. The first one is given as psi is equal to 0 at x is equal to 0, and the second condition is given as psi is equal to 0 at x is equal to L. Hope you understand the above boundary conditions. That is, here, since the potential is infinity at x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L, the particle can't exist at those regions, and hence the wave function associated with the particle psi will also be 0 at x is equal to 0 and x is equal to L. On applying the first boundary condition, that is psi is equal to 0 at x is equal to 0, on equation 3 you get 0 is equal to a plus b, since e raised to 0 is equal to 1. Thus we have b is equal to minus a, or a is equal to minus b. On substituting b is equal to minus a in equation 3, we get psi as psi is equal to a into e raised to ikx minus a into e raised to minus ikx. On taking a outside as common factor and putting 2i sin kx instead of e raised to ikx minus e raised to minus ikx, we get psi as psi is equal to a into 2i sin kx. Now put 2ai as equal to c, another constant. So we get psi is equal to c sin kx. On applying the second boundary condition, that is psi is equal to 0 at x is equal to L, in equation 4 we get 0 is equal to c sin kl. Since c is a constant, it can't be equal to 0, which implies sin kl is equal to 0, or kl is equal to n pi, where n is equal to 0, 1, 2, 3, etc. So k is equal to n pi by L. Put it as equation number 5. On substituting k is equal to n pi by L in equation 4, we get psi is equal to c sin n pi x by L, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. Here please note that we have eliminated the condition n is equal to 0. Because in that case psi is equal to 0 and psi square is equal to 0, which means that the probability density of finding the particle within the box is 0. But we have framed the problem in such a way that the particle can never be present outside the box. So it implies psi square can never be equal to 0, and therefore n is also not equal to 0. Now in this expression for psi, we have to find the constant c. In order to find c, we use a normalization condition. Evaluation of constant c by normalization condition. Hope you remember the normalization condition. Volume integral of psi squared dv is equal to 1. That is, the total probability of finding a particle in a given region of space is 1. Since ours is a one-dimensional problem and the width of the box is L, we can write the normalization condition as line integral within the limit 0 to L psi squared dx is equal to 1. On substituting c sin n pi x by L instead of psi, we get c square line integral 0 to L sin square n pi x by L into dx is equal to 1. As we know, sin square theta is equal to 1 minus cos 2 theta by 2. The equation becomes c square by 2 line integral 0 to L 1 minus cos 2 n pi x by L into dx is equal to 1. Now you split the integral into two parts. On splitting the integral into two parts and evaluating, we get the first integral as x within the limit 0 to L, and the second integral, which is a standard integral in mathematics and whose value is 0. The equation becomes c square by 2 into L minus 0 is equal to 1. Therefore, c is equal to root of 2 by L. Therefore, the expression for the wave function associated with the particle trapped inside a one-dimensional potential box, we get it as sin is equal to root of 2 by L into sin n pi x by L, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. On substituting, k is equal to n pi by L in equation 2, that is 2me by h cut square is equal to k square, you get the expression for energy of a particle trapped inside a one-dimensional potential box as En is equal to n square pi square h cut square by 2ml square, where n is equal to 1, 2, 3, etc. The minimum energy of the particle is obtained when n is equal to 1, that is E1 is equal to pi square h cut square by 2ml square, where n is equal to 2. energy becomes E2 is equal to 4 pi square h cut square by 2ml square, that is 4 times E1. When n is equal to 3, E3 becomes E3 is equal to 9 times E1 and so on. Figure shows the energy level diagram of a particle trapped inside a one-dimensional potential box. As you can see, as n increases, the separation between the energy levels also increases. In your plus 2 classes, hope you remember you studied that in the case of hydrogen atom, as n increases, the separation between the energy levels decreased, because in that case n square was in the denominator of the expression for energy, but here we have n square in the numerator. That's why the separation between the energy levels are increasing instead of decreasing. For each value of n, there is an energy level En and the corresponding wave function psi n. Each value of En is called an eigenvalue and the corresponding psi n is called eigenfunction. So E1, E2, E3, etc. are called the eigenvalues and psi1, psi2, psi3, etc. are called the eigenfunctions. Thus, inside the box, the particle can have only discrete energy values specified by equation 7.